Hello everyone. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for taking time to join my webinar session today on RemLogic collecting, scoring and reporting a MSLT study. Before I continue, please allow me to introduce you on our new website where you can actually find out more information about on-site training, e-seminars, sleep academy and congresses. This is also the website that you can find on all our past webinar recordings. So please log on today on our www.natusneurologyacademy.com to find out more information. Okay, let's go through on the agenda today. So I will be going through on what is MSLT, the indication for MSLT, rules for performing MSLT, the MSLT montage, the bedroom environment for MSLT patient, the patient biocalibration, MSLT procedure, calculating mean sleep latency, calculating REM sleep latency, reporting MSLT, the need to repeat MSLT, the reference, and of course, last but not least, it will be the RemLogic demonstration. Okay, let's start off here. What is MSLT? MSLT stands for Multiple Sleep Latency Test. It is a gold standard to evaluate excessive daytime sleepiness objectively. MSLT is also used to diagnose narcolepsy and to differentiate idiopathic hypersomnia. MSLT measures the amount of time it takes to fall asleep under optimal conditions. There are several nap opportunities throughout the day, spaced 2 hours apart from each naps. Sleepiness is measured by the mean sleep latency of the naps. So what are the indications for performing MSLTs? First, if the patient is suspected to have narcolepsy, and second is actually to differentiate the idiopathic hypersomnia from narcolepsy. MSLT is not routinely indicated to evaluate and diagnose OSAS or to assess the level of vigilance following PEP treatment. Secondly, MSLT is not routinely indicated for evaluation of sleepiness in medical and neurological disorders other than narcolepsy. So what are the rules for performing MSLT? Firstly, an overnight PSG is performed the night before the MSLT study. The first nap should start between 1.5 hours to 3 hours after the end of the overnight PSG study. There will be a minimum of 4 naps spaced 2 hours apart. A fifth nap is added if a SOREM, sleep onset rapid eye movement, is recorded on one of the preceding naps. If 2 or more SOREMs are sampled, the fifth nap is not required. It is recommended that at least 6 hours of documented sleep occur before the administration of the MSLT, and MSLT should not be performed after a split night study. And please take note that it is important that the technician not to wake the patient during the REM period because the patient may experience a REM rebound on nap 1. Stimulant-like medications and REM suppressing medication should be discontinued at least 2 weeks prior to sleep study. And you can also do a urinary drug screening in the morning to ensure that the findings of the MSLT are not pharmacologically altered. So a light breakfast is recommended at least 1 hour prior to nap 1, and a light lunch is recommended immediately after the termination of nap 2 trial. So the sleep tech should ask the patient if they need to use the restroom prior to the commencement of the naps. Smoking is ceased 30 minutes prior to the commencement of the naps, and the patient is advised to avoid intense physical activities prior to each nap opportunity. This is the same applies to avoid caffeinated beverages and unusual exposures to bright sunlight. So what will be the montage that we will be using for MSLT? So we will need to have 2 central leads, 2 frontal leads, 2 occipital leads, 2 EOG leads, chin EMG, and EKG. So this is an example of the MSLT montage in RemLogic, which I will show you more in the demonstration at the end. So how about the bedroom environment? The room must be quiet and dark, and the room temperature should be set at the patient's comfort level. So when the bedroom is nice and quiet and dark and the room temperature is good, so the next thing is we will go through the patient calibrations. So prior to each nap, ask patient to keep eyes open for 30 seconds, close both eyes for 30 seconds, without moving your head, using only your eyes, look right and then left for 2 times. Without moving your head, using only your eyes, look up then down for 2 times. Slowly and distinctly blink your eyes 5 times. Clench or grit your teeth. So the instruction for patient, it should be standardized for each nap. So the example here is, please lie quietly, assume a comfortable position, keep your eyes closed and try to fall asleep. So this instruction should be standardized for each of the naps. Turn off the lights, that means lights off, and start the nap immediately. So the MSLT procedure, if sleep occurs at any time, additional 15 minutes of recording from sleep onset epoch is recorded. If sleep does not occur, a nap session is terminated and a sleep latency of 20 minutes is recorded. And this timing starts from lights off. At the end of each nap, disconnect the patient from the headbox and instruct the patient to stay out of the bed and stay awake for 2 hours until the next nap commences. What are the rules for scoring MSLT? Firstly, assign sleep stages for the epochs. Arousals do not have to be scored. If there's no sleep occurred in the nap opportunity, enter a latency of 20 minutes for the nap opportunity. So we will have to identify the sleep latency, which is the time from the start of the nap to sleep onset for each of the naps. We will also have to identify REM onset, if there's any, for each of the naps. Then we calculate mean sleep latency of the 5 or 4 naps. So how do we calculate mean sleep latency? So sleep latency needs to be calculated for all naps, N1, N2. The N here stands for nap 1, nap 2, nap 3, nap 4, and nap 5 if there is a need for nap 5. When there's no sleep occurs, the sleep latency is equal to 20 minutes. So if there is a sleep stage occur, so the sleep latency will be sleep onset time minus lights out or lights off time. Okay, so the mean sleep latency will be the total of the sleep latency for all the naps divided by the number of naps. So how do we calculate RAM latency? RAM latency can only be calculated for naps where RAM is sampled. In the absence of RAM, it is generally not calculated. So RAM latency is equal to RAM onset time minus sleep onset time. The mean RAM latency is useful actually, but it is the presence of SORAM which is clinically significant. Okay, because a SORAM is considered to be an abnormal finding. Okay, how do we report MSLT? So the report must include the start and end times of each of the naps, sleep latency from lights out or lights off, mean sleep latency, number of SORAMs, RAM latencies from sleep onset if applicable. If there's no sleep achieved on the nap, then sleep latency is recorded as 20 minutes. Do we need to repeat an MSLT study? So it will be worthwhile if there's the following situation whereby the initial test is believed to be an invalid representation of patient status. For example, maybe they have a holiday or shift work prior to PSG MSLT testing. When ambiguous or uninterpretable MSLT findings occur, or to confirm a response to treatment, or when more than one sleep disorder is suspected. So for more information, you can actually look up for this reference practice parameters for clinical use of the multiple sleep latency test and the maintenance of wakefulness test from Littner et al. Okay, thank you for your attention. Okay, now we shall move on to the RemLogic demonstration. Okay, now we shall start with the demonstration in RemLogic software. So there are few assumptions here when I'm showing the demonstration. So I will assume that this patient, James Bond, has done a PSG study with 6 hours of data the previous night. Okay, and then this patient has actually get off from the PSG study, maybe like, let's say now it's already 2 hours from the PSG study last night. So in RemLogic, so since that we were going to use the same patient data, I can just go to here and right click new study, and then I will choose device control and start my system. Okay, you can actually customize a profile just for the MSLT test. Okay, I'll click next. Okay, finish. So for MSLT test, you can also customize your own workspace, just like especially for MSLT. Okay, so I'll show you more when my workspace is loaded. Alright, okay, as you can see here in my workspace, I have 2 central leads, 2 frontal, 2 occipital, E1 and E2, my chin, and my EKG. So the SpO2, it may not be necessary for the test, but some sleep lab, they do still monitor the SpO2 and pulse. Okay, one thing that I wanted to show you here is we have this little clock function or we call it the timer function in RemLogic, where you can actually keep track of each of the naps, which is the 20 minutes per each nap. So to get this timer out, you can always click on this little icon here. So I'll just close this, and then you can just click on this and it will come up. Please do note that this timer is not recorded, so it is more for your visual only. That means you can keep track on the total time that this patient has been in the naps respectively. Okay, so let's start now. So let's say the patient has been already on the bed, and now we will start with the biocal. So here I'll go to tools, biocalibration. Okay, so I will first ask the patient to keep his eyes open for 30 seconds. I'll just click here. Okay, so let's say after the 30 seconds, I'll ask the patient to close his eyes for 30 seconds. Okay, and then I will ask the patient to look right and then left for 2 times. So right, left, right again, and left. Okay, then I'll ask the patient to look up and down 2 times. So up, down, up, down. Now please note that I did not hook up a real patient on this one. So what you can see here is actually just like just data, raw data just from the hitbox. Okay, and then ask the patient to blink 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then lastly, I will ask the patient to grind his teeth or clench his teeth. Okay, so after that, we are done. Okay, so and then this is the part that we will ask the patient to lie down quietly and try to fall asleep. And do remember that the instructions for patient, it should be standardized for all the naps. Okay, so before we start the nap or we put lights off, this is the setting that I would like to do. First, I will change it to real-time interval. Okay, and then I'll choose lights off, or you can actually use the keyboard shift plus the plus sign on your keypad. Okay, so now I will choose lights off here, then I'll press the escape key so that my mouse will turn back to the normal sign, and then I'll press start here. So the timer will start, then you will know that when it's 20 minutes, it is time to stop the nap. Okay, so from here onwards, you will monitor the patient for 20 minutes. So if you notice there's one sleep stage, there will be additional 15 minutes to be recorded. Okay, so the next step is you will need to score the each of the naps. So we can do the scoring on the go. So I'll show it to you how to do it now. First of all, I'll just pause it first. I'll just go back to the lights off that I have earlier on. Maybe let me just go back to lights off. Okay, I'll just click on here, and then I'll go to events, new scoring. Okay, this is the part that I want you to pay attention to. For each of the nap, it has to be new scoring. Okay, for example, I put here John. Okay, so for each of the nap, maybe I'll just name them John 1, John 2, John 3, John 4, John 5. Each of the scoring for each nap, it should be a new scoring. It should not continue scoring. Okay, so once I press OK, so I can start scoring now. So let's say I'll assume the patient is still awake. Okay, so you can see that it's not fully done yet. I can just unpause it, so I can score on the go until the timer comes up to 20 minutes or I see a sleep stage. Okay, so this is how you can do the scoring on the go. Alright, so if you want to stop scoring, so there's a shortcut key here where you can see here, I can just toggle scoring. I can just stop it, and then you will be out of the scoring mode. Okay, so let's assume, okay, let me just put it up here. Let's assume now that there's already it's already 20 minutes for nap 1. So now it's the time that to lights on. So I just put lights on here. and I stop the timer. Okay, so this is the time that we will ask the patient to stay awake for 2 hours and to stay away from the bed. Okay, do note that you do not stop this recording. As you can see, this arrow here is still turning, it's still running, means just let it run until the patient comes back for 2 hours later for the second nap. So basically, with all the leads that is still connected to the patient, you can just disconnect the head box. I'm going to show it to you now. Okay, so you can also use the timer function to know that to note that it's already 2 hours and it's time for the second nap. So let me just put it here. Okay, you just reset it and let it run for 2 hours, then you know that it is time for the second nap. Okay, so when the patient comes back in for the second nap, that is the time that you will reconnect back the head box. So on. Okay, we are back on. So I'll just stop the timer, reset it. So the same steps again, we will do the patient biocalibration and then followed by the instruction for patients, same standardized instructions, and then lights off, and then you can start to go into the scoring mode again. Okay, so you will repeat these steps all the way until nap 4 or nap 5 if there's a need for nap 5. Okay, you will only stop the recording after the last nap 4 or nap 5. Okay, so don't worry, just let it run until the last nap. Okay, so let's assume now it's nap 5. Okay, and you already put lights on, then you just have to click stop to stop the recording. Okay, and then do remember to save the workspace. That means the work that you have done here. So I just go to save. So I just put here MSLT test. Okay, and then I press OK. So that from here I do know that all my work has been saved. Okay, and next up I'm going to show you another example on somehow the sleep labs will use RemLogic to score MSLT study. Okay, now I will show you on the second method on how some sleep lab will actually score an MSLT study. So let's say that during the recording they did not score on the go. So basically they will just put the lights off and lights on for each nap, and of course they will put the tag notes to denote that this is nap 1, nap 2, nap 3, nap 4 or nap 5, and they will visually like count the time. They say, or they know that there's a sleep stage, they will record the additional 15 minutes from the sleep onset. Okay, so I'm going to show you here how can we score the data using RemLogic. So I would suggest that we use the event palette here to call out this function. You can just go to view, workspace, event palette. Okay, so to do this I would normally click 2 times on name so that it will arrange everything here. So I can go to the first lights off, okay, to score nap 1. So now I will go to event, new scoring. So just remember that each of the nap, it has to be a new scoring. So let's say I'll put here James 1. Okay, then I will start to score. Okay, so once I'm done I can just stop the scoring. Okay, go back to all events again. Okay, I go to the second likes of. Let me just scroll down here. Okay, click here, and then events, new scoring. Okay, I'll put James 2. Right, then I'll start to score for the second nap until I hit likes on. Okay, then I can stop scoring. Okay, I'll look for the third likes of. Okay, and then event, new scoring, James 3. Okay, I will do this for all the naps respectively until nap 4 or nap 5. Okay, so this is how you would do the scoring for MSLT. So the next step now is I will show you a fully scored MSLT study. Okay, and once you have done, let's say you have done scoring for each of the naps, now you wanted to generate the report. So RemLogic has a standard report, which is an MSLT report. I can just click here and then it will be generated. So this is the MSLT report. So you can see here the lights off and lights on time for net 1, net 2, net 3, 4 and 5. Okay, the latency to sleep. Okay, then so you take note here, like this is the one that I mentioned on the, like John 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. Alright, so this is one of the report where you can actually print this report. You can just or you can just export this report out. Okay, and save it on the desktop and enter the patient's name. Okay, alternatively, some state lab, they say that, oh, I would like to see a report with a hypnogram as well. So this is actually can be customizable, okay, as a custom report for MSLT. So I will show you an example of an MSLT report that we have that will show the hypnogram. Okay, so here you go. So you have all the hypnogram here as well. Okay, so you can, of course, this is a save in as a Microsoft Word. You can save the file, the name with the name of the patient. Okay. Okay, so if you have any questions about collecting, scoring and reporting MSLT studies with RemLogic, please feel free to email to me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So my email address is kiong.fouyom@natus.com. Okay, so please feel free to email to me, then I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And last but not least, thank you so much for your time today, for joining my webinar session today. Thank you everyone and have a great day.